What is up, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we're doing a brand new episode of the Commonwealth of Australia. I'm trying to get this series to continue on. I know it's kind of been a stretch between episodes. So like I said, I've been having a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. So that is going to be the reason why you do see kind of like these periods of time where I do have issues like uploading, and I am seeing that that is having an effect on the series as a whole. I do see that like the channel is kind of like slumping in views, but I definitely know that you guys understand that personal life definitely comes above, you know, content creation, everything like that. At some point I will be able to just come back on a consistent schedule, but until then I just have to do it whenever I am able to. But other than that, well, hopefully actually next week I actually have a week off for vacation, so I'm hoping that I will definitely have some time in order to make some content for you guys. But other than that, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it. I think one more thing I'll say is that I think I'm going to start moving on to like shorter and also longer video forms like tutorials. I know I have like several up-to-date tutorials I have to make. So for example, like the new economic guide, maybe a corporation guide, a elections guide. There are several different tutorials that I know that I can put a lot of effort into, and that will take me several weeks in order to make, but they're actually good videos rather than, you know, these ones don't require the most amount of effort or editing, but any other ones, I mean, you know, you would be able to see it, and those ones are way more popular than these types of videos. But I do really like the series format. I like coming into like in, you know, a country and then developing it into something great. So other than that, like I said, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the other side. So today we're going to be focusing on things like economic activity. I know we have to focus on getting ourselves into a position to where we are able to build Australia into an economic power. I mean, we already are the most dominant economic force in Southeast Asia. And by the way, I had a comment that I saw this morning whenever I made this video. Someone did actually correct me whenever they said Australia is not the continent. So yeah, so let me correct myself on this, and thank you for pointing this out. Australia is not the continent, but it's more so the Oceania continent. So Australia is but one little piece, one large piece of Oceania. So we have Australia, we have New Zealand, and we have this entire region of islands that expand out into the Pacific. We're also going to be going for some closer relations to New Zealand. We definitely want New Zealand to be on our side in case of any military attack. Their military, however, is not the strongest, so I think, if anything, we would be the senior partner in that relationship. We definitely want to continue our reach into Papua New Guinea. We want to make sure that we are able to sign a defense agreement with them. Let's go over to tourism. We have 6 million people that come into our country every year, and we are making $2 billion more in revenue than we did in the previous, or at least in the beginning of the game. Sales, $2 billion more. Attraction parks, we are making just $1 million more, but our profits are on their way up, so we definitely want to continue that. All right, and another thing I think we should definitely focus on is to get our attraction parks to actually start taking off. We actually should start increasing our investment into the research field. I know that we do have some types of discoveries we can make which would actually help the that industry. So if we go over here, we go to energy. I can't remember if it's in maybe agrofood. I think it's genetic. I think it's in here. Like it'd be genetic dwarfism, and it'd be like Jurassic animals right there. So that would be one way that we're able to get our industry or attraction park industry to do more, right? And then so in research, I think this is going to be the first place where we can actually put some effort and investment into state technological transition. Let's go ahead and hit them with 2,500 AI agents. This will have the maximum rate of replacement of 13.47%. What that means is a robot having a replacement rate of 30% means that it will reduce the time it takes a human to accomplish these tasks by 30%. So as technology does advance, this will go up, and then so our investment will still continue to save money. But we will go ahead and we're just going to do that for AI. And then we're going to confirm that. And let's go to here. And then we do see our objective now is 2,500. Let's go ahead and go to the next day. And then what the reaction was to that. People don't like ethical AI, but we also do need to continue to lower our deficit. I know we were doing a lot of spending in the last episode, so we definitely need to increase some of our taxes. So 80% to the tobacco tax. And then company tax, we need to start lowering that, just that way we can encourage growth. I think the real estate tax, that way we're able to invite investors over to our country. We could lower that to $3, just $3 flat. Income tax, I feel like we're kind of maxing that out, so we kind of have to rely on possibly a higher value added tax. So $5 billion here, and then let's see what the reaction would be to that. The ASF at 40%, and we do have a coalition with the NFI. Let's go ahead and hit with small reform. Let's do a Deficit Reduction Act and hit confirm, and then let's go to production tax. Maybe not. I don't want to do a gas tax. I feel like that's just gonna make things a little bit more difficult. What about a higher industrial pollution tax? I think once we get that to about 1%, then we're gonna be fine. 258, $250 million. And we could continue to increase that, $500 million. And then let's do 0.5 to $250 million there. I put it as its own independent thing. What about creation? Wealth tax, inheritance tax, financial transaction tax. I mean, $300 million, but I highly doubt we're going to be... Okay, I guess we can get it passed. Financial transaction tax, let's hit them. Inheritance tax. Pornography tax. Tourist tax. $10, Jesus. Maybe as I start to increase my investment into it, maybe it'll actually get better with time. Let's go ahead and family. I'm gonna go forward a little bit, and then we're just gonna kind of go from there. All right, and let's go ahead and do the first focus of this episode. Today, we're gonna go ahead and do a large-scale focus on energy. We're gonna go ahead and outline some of the plans that we have here. So we have access to third-generation nuclear power plants. These are gonna be probably the most cost-efficient facilities that we can focus on. But we're gonna go for about 1 or 2 of these, and then in this episode and in the next episode, as we start to raise funds to pay for all of this, we will focus on wind energy. I think wind and nuclear is going to be what we really want to focus on here. We're not going to skip this, but I will show you like my method as like I kind of like accelerate the time here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and we'll be back shortly. All right, and we are back. So as you saw, we did build a lot of offshore wind farms that will produce 1.4 terawatts each. And so 1.4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 comes out to about 14 terawatts we will get from that. We also did build a nuclear power plant called the Gold Coast Nuclear Power Station. So that will produce up to 28.1 terawatts when fully staffed. And as well, in energy reserves, we do have a lot of hydrogen that we can tap into. So we did build some electrolysis plants, 3 of them, which will produce up to 50,000 units each. Or is that tons? It's tow. And then we do have some natural hydrogen deposits, up to 10,000 that we can tap into. 26,000 here, and then up in the north we have 27,000 and 21,000 that we can tap into. So we're gonna be focusing on building a large hydrogen industry here in South Australia. So I'm very excited to see what we can do with it. So we are hopefully going to become a very strong energy power in South Australia or in South Pacific. Let's go ahead and look to see what else we can do here. Immigration rate is on its way down. However, we do have an influx of illegal immigrants coming into the country. So let's go ahead and see where these guys are coming from. I'm assuming they are coming from India. India and China seem to be increasing their loads of illegals that are crossing into Australia illegally. Most likely they're overstaying their visas and they are just not going home. So we definitely have to start increasing our ability to try to stem the flow of illegals coming into the country. So we're going to go ahead and build about 50 facilities at $1 billion annually. And that will be 140 spaces each. That's a couple thousand people that we can process over the course of a couple of months. We are now at 0.7% in terms of our deficit, so we need to increase some of our taxes in order to make sure that we are able to pay for these increase in expenses. Let's go ahead and increase our industrial pollution tax. $500 million will be made from increasing that tax. Deficit Reduction Act is passed and our growth rate is on its way down. We need to get at least to a 3 to 5% growth rate just to be comfortable. UNESCO is here and we got nothing from it, so unfortunately we will not be able to see a boost in tourism. However, we should have a something coming up in October, I think. Let's go over to tourism. Budget, events. Dang, I thought I did a international festival. Let's go ahead and do something in 2026 here. Let's go to Melbourne, and then let's go to April 20th on 4/20. We will have an international literature film festival. Let's do this at $500 million. Funding, and then let's go ahead and do that because we are definitely becoming a cornerstone in the market for film. We definitely have, I can't remember the name of them, but it's the two directors from Australia that are just becoming very popular. They've made Talk to Me. They made Bring Her Back. Those are two horror movies that have just become international sensations. So if we can definitely start to get our movie industry up and running and give them, definitely we need to give them some subsidies here. Let's give them a $300 million subsidy for the domestic companies and for domestic. Well, let's do all companies just that are based in Australia. We're going to have to continue to increase our taxes to pay for these subsidies and increase in energy expenses. We had $5 billion, I think, annually that just got dropped onto our industries. So let's go ahead and increase the tax on plastic packaging. $500 million will be made back. So that pays for our subsidy to the film industry. And other administrations, let's go ahead and increase the robots here. Let's do 3,000 robots, investment over 3 years, $100 million, and then budgetary savings is $6 million. 14% replacement rate and level of technology currently on the market. So I know as soon as we start to increase that, it makes a popularity dive, but we do have the ability to increase investment there. So I think by the time they even start to hit the market, they'll start to be upgraded. So then we're going to save even more money from them. So let's go ahead and go from here. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our worldwide laws. So we do have the ability to go and increase our global tax on multinational companies, the wealthy, global financial transactions, airline tickets, deforestation. I think we could actually go for a deforestation tax across the world, just that way we're actually like on common ground. We will be able to make money off of this, but it's more so just a way, just that way we can all, stop putting ourselves into a position to where, like we have the budget economy, we can make $3 billion off of this. Global tax on polluting activities is based on the principle that polluters should pay and is proportional to the extent of pollution caused by any activity, industrial household waste, atmospheric pollution, noise pollution. This tax is intended to deter polluting practices. We could make $3 billion off of this just by increasing it to 1%, but we have to make sure that it passes our parliament to minimum wage, a global minimum wage. Can you imagine that? $1,500. We have a budget economy that it would save us money because we're consolidating all, but it would also decrease our minimum wage across our country. So we may not want to go for that. And especially, I think minimum wage is like the least realistic, because can you imagine the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Tanzania, Zambia, Botswana trying to ensure that companies are increasing their minimum wages to $1,300 or $2,000 or something like that? I feel like that would just destroy half of the world just because of that policy. Let's go ahead and go to here, economy, free trade. Let's see what kind of free trade agreements we do have across the world. United States, we have a treaty with them, treaty with Japan and the United Kingdom. Let's go ahead and do a economic and political agreement with the United States. I think that would be really, really helpful, and especially close and solidify our relations with the Americans. I also do plan on buying some nuclear submarines from them, so I think that's what we're going to do in this episode. I'm going to go ahead and do this order of nuclear submarines, and we're going to call it for today. Kind of a short episode today, not as long as the last ones, but do you guys like longer episodes, kind of closer between over 30 minutes, or do you like them under 30 minutes? What kind of episodes do you guys like to see? But other than that, let's go ahead and go to nuclear submarines, rank 3, United States, and let's buy annual custom duties, interest over 3 years. Let's do 5 nuclear submarines, I guess. $44 billion. It's around the same as the AUKUS treaty actually did. Let's put them in in New South Wales. Let's go ahead and throw that over to the United States and then see what their response is. They're probably going to try to increase the price here. Oh, actually, they didn't. They actually didn't. Minister of Foreign Affairs, and a heavy fine was instilled against the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
We now have...
And an electoral map. Let's go ahead and take a look at that electoral map. And Australia, we have some... It's actually a little bit better. Apparently, the conservatives have a stronghold out in the outback, especially over in West Australia, South Australia, and in Queensland. But in Victoria, in New South Wales, and in the Northern Territory, we do have strongholds there, which most of the population is down here, so we don't. I mean, we wouldn't have to focus here, but I would really like that all of the territories would be on our side. But at least whenever our electoral reform takes place, since we do have that instilled, let's go ahead and go over here, go to elections, go to, that is elections by majority, which is actually the same system that the United Kingdom has. They do run by a majority system over in the UK. So Australia is going to be a little bit less representative, but we don't have to worry about coalitions all the time. So let's go ahead and go from here. And we did accept that nuclear submarine agreement, and I think actually with the nuclear protection the United States offers us, I haven't seen anything where like we have to buy pretty consistently from them for weapons. And I guess maybe that staves it off. I don't know if we get a warning or not from them, so I'm wondering what happens if we don't buy weapons for a certain amount of time. And our tourism is continuing to increase, or our domestic revenue is on its way up, and our employees in the sector is on its way up as well. $49 million to attraction parks, and then $83 billion to tourism. $5 billion subsidy over to the tourism industry. And what else can we do? So the United States has rejected a contract. They said no to the economic and political agreement. Your CO2 emissions per resident is too high. Let's go ahead and check to see what ours is. We have to be under 10 in order to be accepted into that agreement, and ours is 21. Wow. Yeah, so we're going to have to continue to increase our CO2 capture methods. I think we're going to go for about, I'd say 2,000 of these, and then I'd say a couple tens of thousands of the air filtration. We definitely want to decrease our CO2 emissions in the country. I mean, we could increase our CO2 emissions by energy, by going for some fossil fuel plants. I actually did a fossil fuel run as Lithuania, and boy, that was just the worst gameplay I've ever had to do. I had to decrease... I literally alienated myself from the entire parliament because the left hated me because of the pollution, and then the right hated me because I was a leftist. So that was just the worst possible run that I have ever committed myself to. Exoneration from the film industry. Let's go ahead and hand out a $69 million exoneration. Once we are able to increase our profits here, maybe to about $1 billion, we could destroy those exonerations. Just that way we are able to, make some revenue from the film industry. But we definitely want to encourage the film industry for the time being. So I'm going to hand them a subsidy and an exoneration for the next 2 years, and then let's see where they're at in 2027. Other services we should start to encourage. I think air transportation could use some subsidies here, $200 million to the service industry. Insurance, services info, internet services. I like the icons that they've been using here. They actually changed them here. You don't see them anymore. I love that the retail industry is a thing now. And career industry, advertising, finance industry. I really wish that they could kind of expand. I really like that the holdings, finance, and insurance industries are a part of the game now, and retail especially, but I think that they should at least make them into like, I would even say like you should be able to play as them as a company, making them to where they have production. I mean, having production and consumption, I guess, wouldn't make sense for the retail industry, because like, what are they producing? They're literally just the mouth of where the products are coming to. Like, they're literally like selling the products. So I mean, I guess it makes sense that they don't have production or consumption, but I think it'd be cool to be able to play as them. Streaming and TV channels, let's go ahead and hand them subsidy as well, about $100 million for the industry, and then exonerate them as well. Urban transportation, we're going to have to go ahead and encourage this, just that way we are able to decrease our CO2 emissions. I think what we could do is that we could increase the energy products tax just barely, 0.27% or 0.27 cents. And then let's see what the people think of that. Liquor tax. What about tax on plastic packaging? What about financial transaction tax? Increase this. I'd say we want to get that to like 1% to make a lot of money off of it, but I don't want to alienate their coalition at all. What else? Production tax. I'm trying to decrease that, so we don't want to mess with it. I think that's it. I think that'll be it for our episode today. Next episode should be a little bit longer, but I think I just wanted to get this episode out just to you guys. But other than that, guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this with me, and take care.